So thank you for all being here after an amazing evening. Thank you, our host, our sponsors, and of course my parents giving me Nordic DNA, because otherwise I would be having a horrible hangover. Okay, so I'm gonna share a totally opposite story than we just heard, what we did in Amadeus. So we went from, we did some pre-study, we did digital transformation, and we went from the beginning to the end in 8 months. And we did different modules of AEM, we did full integration with Salesforce, and that's the story I'm gonna tell you. So now it sounds, I feel like I'm gonna brag a little bit, but let's see how it goes, and feel free to ask any questions as we go along. So, a few words about Amadeus. It's a company that very few people know about unless you work for travel. It is a big company. We have offices in 120 countries. We literally do business in every single country on the planet except North Korea. Our customers come from the 30 casinos from Las Vegas to airlines, Expedia, Kayak, Booking.com, they're all our customers. So we run the technology for them. And actually 50% of the people in the air right now in the planes are there through our systems. So when you search, you buy, you check yourself in, you buy extra luggage, they all go through our platform. So it's a big company nobody knows, and that, of course, is my challenge. I work for marketing. I have branding team, I have corporate culture. So those are the 3 teams I deal with. But today I'm gonna focus on the digital marketing team and what we've been doing. So, first thing, think about a brand or company you really like. Think in your head, that one. And now imagine, in order for you to get information from that company, you have to go 82 different local websites, more than 500 microsites, and more than 150 extranets. I'm not talking about pages, I'm talking about 700 different sites in different places. That's a company of Amadeus. That's where we started when I joined a couple of years ago and started to look what was the digital footprint of the company. So, we had a lot of different issues, obviously. First of all, fragmentation. Everything was all over the place. Pretty much like the story before. Technology, out of date. I could go to any website, and within few minutes, I could find content corrupted, broken links, or actually the whole system just collapses. So old technology, nothing to do with mobile optimization. It was a bloody mess. But at the same time also, anybody in a company could more or less have access to CMS and do their own updates. No processes, no skills. It was a wild, wild west. And this is 2 years ago. So, obviously, it was very easy to say, we need to change things. We have to really start from scratch. And that's the difference what we did. We totally start from the playing field instead of trying to migrate content or patch the legacy, because we had been doing that for decades. So, it wasn't making life any easier that we have multiple different business units, and each business unit have multiple segments. Actually, we have 27 different lines of business in travel industry. And what they all wanted to do is run their own tools. And we had amazing, nice internal IT and CIO who wanted to let all of them get whatever they wanted. So when I joined the company, and first thing I said, no one can choose their platform anymore. We're going to do one platform, and we're going to kill the legacy. The first reaction is, who do you think you are? And it's true. It took, I always said the same thing in our internal meetings. You will hate me for a year, and hopefully after that you will love me. So it's a lot of painful decisions and breaking eggs to make the omelette, and that's exactly what I told these guys. What made my life easier was the local markets. Imagine you work for Australia or North America, and you have 27 different business units in the marketing and sales in order for you to report your marketing activities, your sales leads. You have to go to 27 different tools and systems to report it. So actually the guy said, it takes me days to log into different tools, to just to say, today I was talking to airline, and tomorrow I'm going to talk to hotels. It was a bloody mess. So what I did, I got the support from the local and regional guys, which again is a big part of the company, and saying that, hey, listen to this guy, because we will not use these systems anymore. And that was actually working for our benefit. We had a perfect storm. Everybody was totally tired and upset of the mess that we had created. And then, of course, we had to get the funding. So I was able to raise 10 million for 5 years to go and fix things, which is a lot of money. But again, of course, we had to do business case. And that's where the internal politics kick in. I knew that we were spending more than 5 million a year for various licenses for different platforms. And I don't know if anybody works for Accenture, but we had a lot of Accenture people in the house running and patching and keeping the system up and running. And I said, once we get rid of this, we go cloud-based, off-the-shelf, non-customized platform, we're going to save millions. So I went to our CIO, and again, he said, who do you think you are? I run the platforms, I run the technology, you stay off of my turf. And I said, sorry, I disagree. And I had to go to the board of directors to have a fight with CIO in front of the whole board of directors. And as a result, they said, okay, we'll give you the funding, but that 5 million savings that I knew we would make, he actually gave me 100,000 of annual savings moving from the legacy into a new. So I actually didn't have enough money yet to make the business case stand. So what I did some very broad assumptions. We had one small segment who ran WordPress with HubSpot and Salesforce. And again, they've done a really good job. And 1.6% of their annual sales came from digitally created sales leads. So I said, okay, if we take that, we apply it, if I can do the same globally for the entire company that these guys have done in Boston with their business, we're going to make 83 million euros every year from the digital channel alone. And of course, they said, well, that's not going to happen. So I had to then dig some of my old cases. I used to work for EMC, which is a big data center company. So I actually showed them what we did. In EMC, it took us 1.5 years from the launch of similar system to create $350 million from digitally created leads. So it took me a lot of persuasion, different examples, but I kept it on a very top level. But it was interesting that all the savings that you will make, and I thought that would be the strongest part of the business case, it didn't matter. Nobody's willing to give you any savings. Because if they say we're going to save money and time, it means that either people have to be fired or move to a new job. Budgets need to be cut. If you have millions to run certain things, and now they say you're not going to have those millions because we have a new system, people are not willing to make cuts. So I had to go back to the business units and our board members and saying, how much can you say that you are willing to commit to make more money because we have a good operating system? And these guys are smart, so they understand if you can't follow your sales leads, you cannot forecast how things will go. If you can't forecast, you're going to make empty promises, and in the end of the day, the CEO will come and kick your ass. So they were actually then saying, okay, we'll give you this and this much upside. They increased their long-term sales plans, and because of that, I made the business case together with my team to stand up. Okay, so we had a very clear vision. We're going to fundamentally change the way we operate in a company. Sounds very bold, but what we wanted to do, and I started again too big, so CIO more or less said, if you're going to go to that level, make sure you're going to be fired. And I was at that point 6 months in a company. So I had to limit it to that red box. But what we practically, I said, if we do a microservice architecture, and if we make sure that independent of whatever tools sales guys use, marketing, financial, legal, support staff, they can use whatever tools as long as they integrate the few key parts. We don't have a data lake, but even if they work with our SAP system, if they work with the CRM, that's enough data for us to take that and we can say all the different interactions our customer has with our marketing, what type of sales leads, when the contracts will expire, what type of profitability those customers are. So we can do a pretty good job of understanding the customers. So of course I went, let's change the ERP, let's change the CRM, and that's where they say, hold on, just do your bloody work, focus on marketing. And that's why I went back and said, okay, we're going to clean our own backyard in marketing first, and once that's done, let's then go back to the ERP topic. So today, again, what we've done, we only done the marketing layer, AEM, marketing automation, CRM integrations, analytics. So how did we do this? Again, a learning. Every single person who worked on this project is sitting on a 10th floor in a Madrid building in the same open office, including developers. We co-located everybody into one floor. We don't have stand-up meetings because we are all sitting in the same group so we can talk without standing up. So we follow Agile, but in a slightly different way. We didn't do much documentation. We did the full pre-study. We knew all that was broken. We didn't create any requirement specifications. I said, let's document afterwards. And normally that's a bad advice. Any developer knows that's a really shitty advice. But I said, no, this time we have to make it. We're going to make it quick. Because, again, the CIO said, if we do it with you, it's going to take 2 years. And I said, no, I'm going to do it in 8 months. And that was, again, a line in the sand. But I said, we can really do it. This was the third time I did something like on this scale. And the first time it took a couple of years. Second time it took 1.5 years. And this time I really felt if we avoid all the mistakes, we can really push it quicker. So we had a core team of 8 people in our side and 12 people on a developer side. Those 8 people internally, they had 6 different streams. We did have all the business units, extended teams, local guys, but they had no other voice than actually giving us what content matters. Remember all this mess, all these websites? No migration. So we said, what are the top content pieces you want to talk about to your customers on a website? And we recreated, rewrote it, did it from scratch. We didn't have steering group. Anyone who works in a big company always have this magical steering group. The problem is that when you let people to steer your project who have no idea about digital marketing, they're going to totally make all the mistakes you can do. So we call it advisory group. They can give us advice, but they have no voice of telling us how to do our job. And that was another big thing. I come from a European company, Amadeus. It's consensus-driven. People are so nice. It takes, out of the 16,000 people that work for the company, you want to ask everybody's opinion. And now somebody's telling, well, you can give advice, but we don't need to take that advice. That was a big cultural change. And remember, I also run the corporate culture, so that was a little bit of a conflict. Where are we moving as a company and how we are behaving in the future? So actually giving people the power to decide on their specific area. Again, if they're smart, they ask for advice. But why would you let somebody tell you how to do your business, especially if you feel quite passionate and knowledgeable on your area? So a lot of changes culturally as well. It's not about technology, it's about the processes and people as well. Now we launched a couple of months ago. We are moving to the maintenance phase. So like I said, today we have only 8 people on our side managing global digital footprint of our websites and operations. We're going to be a bottleneck. There's no way we're going to be able to scale. And I knew that all along. That's OK. So what we are doing now, we are doing replicas. We're doing each region, Americas, EMEA, APAC will have a similar structure. 8 people in all of the regions. And now they start to deal with the local content creation. So we've done a global content. We've went from tens of thousands of pages into 2,000 pages. And again, yes, we are translating every single page, every piece of content, to 4 languages. We used to have 17. Now we're going to go to 4. And by end of the year, we're going to go to 10. It doesn't make any sense. In reality, when I look at the traffic, 4 languages is covering 80% of all the traffic we get. With Spanish, English, German, and French, you pretty much have a global coverage apart from Asia. Of course, in Europe, you have many languages as well, but their English is good enough. People are able to read it. So, again, different structures. And then what we did with our technology, again, we kind of said one size doesn't fit all, but still, it does help to maintain things. So no customization, off-the-shelf, cloud-based, fundamentally change the way we do things. And this was a big deal as well, cloud-based. I mean, Amadeus has a big data center. We have 75,000 transactions per second on our data center. Google Search has 55,000. We have 25% more traffic on every second in our data center than Google search engine. So again, when you tell the guys that I don't want to push anything on our on-prem, they said, well, that's our job. That's what we're good at. We are the world's best operational team on data. Why do you want to move to Amazon or somewhere else? I said, because we have a core business to serve our customers, and marketing, we are just the guys on the side, so we don't want to mess around with that on-prem. Let's just put it to the cloud. This is our stack. So we had the AEM with the sites. We have the community module to run the forums. We have, again, those 500 microsites. Many of them were small campaign pages of local blogs. So now we are moving everything on top of Adobe. And again, GDPR compliancy, security issues, all of those things, we have no idea how compliant we are. And with the GDPR, if you are being sued, the maximum penalty is 4%. So again, we talk about 200 million penalty for Amadeus if we are being sued and lose that case. So for me, it's very easy to say, no more local blogs on WordPress. So I had a perfect storm. I had, on one hand, business units wanting the change, the local guys wanting the change, and even the legislature says you cannot run a fragmented backend anymore. Then we had the target. We used that for A/B testing. We still use Eloqua. We use that for our campaigns, but also segmentation. We do have the personalization capability now. So based on the cookie data and what you browse, next time you come in, we present you slightly different content. We have Oracle Siebel, but we don't use it. That's why it's empty. It's a dead horse. I mean, it just doesn't work. It's been overly customized over the multiple years, but we still have it there because and that's our biggest part of our business, they run their CRM on Siebel. Nobody uses it, but they still claim they use it. So we have simple CVS files on the leads that we push back to the system. I don't think it's going to be followed up. We don't even report what's happening after that. So what we have done for the more advanced business units and segments, we use Salesforce. So we can actually report every single individual who leaves their personal data. We move them through the whole lead pipeline, and we can report then how many leads, how much sales pipeline, and revenues eventually we are creating. And finally, we have, of course, analytics, so all the tagging. And tagging is a big part. I'm going to explain a bit more why it's so critical to get it right, all the metadata and tagging. That's one of the cool functionalities on the new website we've done. But I'll get back to that in a second. So that's our stack. Oops, let's go back. I said one size doesn't fit all, and this is the second part. We do have a lot of additional things. We use demand-based and lead forensics to know how many people from Lufthansa comes to our website and what products they look at. We do create reports, and we give it back to our sales. We may not know the individual, but we can say intercontinental hotel guys are looking at property management systems a lot. We are telling airline people that, hey, it looks like Southwest Airline is really going to the customer support pages, looking at this and this and this. Is there something wrong with the system? How is our training working? So we do provide a lot of information of using some of these tools. We use data visualization, a lot of search engine optimization. So again, it's still a messy backend, but it's much more manageable than it used to be. Okay, another learning, like I said, co-located people and only use the experts. We did the full RFP with 8 different vendors and agencies who can do it. CIO wanted to use Accenture because they always use them. They are amazing. They do great pitches, but they are really bad at actually doing digital marketing backends. So when they made a beautiful presentation, I asked how many of 20 of you, and there were 20 guys in a room delivering the pitch. I said, how many of you will work in my team? And nobody responded. So what we ended up doing, we actually worked with the 3Share. We worked with the Luxus. Luxus did more the creative side, content creation. 3Share did all the development. And we said, look, these guys have done it 100 times. So why would we go and start playing around? We rather do it well, do it quick, and actually much more cost effectively. If we look at hourly rates, maybe you start to lean towards off-premise and maybe Argentina or some other offshore agencies, but no, it doesn't work. You want to work with the best ones who know their stuff, and that really helped us as well to deliver on time. Okay, so how do we avoid the mess we just cleaned up? Of course, now we are the bottleneck. We have the system live, everything's running, and everybody's excited and proud. It's a beautiful site, information flows, and they all want to get a piece of that. So we actually say, how do we divide our 8 people internally and 12 people externally, so that 20 people, and we had to come, how much goes to tech and development, how much goes to content operations, how much go to actually creating insights. And then we had to slice and dice all that for each business unit, so they know exactly how much production pipeline they have available at all times. We also had to actually make our operational model, because again, having 16,000 people and all wants to make changes on your website, we had to put gatekeepers. If airline's business unit wants to bring in new content, I said, I don't know if it's right content or wrong, so the head of airline marketing has to sign it all off. And we create, again, fairly simple and elegant system. We use workflow management, and practically you can put any request in, and only after they've been signed off by the head of something, we have gatekeepers, it moves to the production pipeline, backlog, and then later on out. So we do, every 2 weeks, we do a new content updates. Therefore, we do use agile methodology quite a bit to get this up and running. And this is just showing, there's actually a full service catalog that goes through the workflow management, it goes to the system, it goes to the live. So what we actually give our guys is saying, okay, you can request anything, modify on a page, create a campaign, launch new products, run webinars. We can provide you consulting, media buying, technical support. It's a pretty bold promise, remembering we are 8 people, the team. But at the same time, of course, having the right vendors and partners around the world, we are able to scale little by little. And like I said, we're going to be having the regional digital teams by end of the year, and that will be a game changer in terms of scalability. Okay, so this is the website. It's a little video running on the background. Couple cool things there. Mass personalization, which can be done manually or automatically. Manually, what you can do is you can go and click any solution saying, I want to focus on airlines. With that one click saying airlines, every piece of content in the entire website changes. It's only airline specific, which means that any asset, any component, any module that we create has to have a tag, what customer group it belongs to. It also have regional tags, so you can know what country. We do geo-targeting, we do regional targeting, we do ABM. So as a result, tagging becomes critical. If you make wrong tags on the asset, it means that everything falls apart. That's another reason why we don't let anybody to mess around with CMS anymore. It's not about creating a new content and uploading it. You have to know how to tag it, how to put all the metadata in correctly, and that's why we have a center of excellence. We start small, we grow, and go forward. But that's the website, and again, I didn't remember how important it is to have something cool that people can be proud of. Again, the 6 months, 12 months of people hating me, now they actually come back and saying, I'm so proud. I can now show it to my wife or husband. I can show it to my parents saying, this is what I work for. So again, those are something we should not underestimate, the importance of showing people good stuff when you do things. Here's another video of what we're actually doing now, what we are able to do. So I think it's going to take a minute or two. Let's run it.
Meet Alan. He is the CFO of a large consulting company. Alan is about to embark on a journey to become one of our B2B marketing contacts. We'll make it as simple as possible for him, but there is a lot that goes on behind the scenes. So let's take a look. Using anonymous visitor identification, we see that Alan works for Siemens and has interacted with one of our digital channels in the past. We use this information to send a targeted social media ad his way. Whilst browsing LinkedIn, Alan sees our targeted ad on travel expense management. He clicks on the ad and is taken to a travel expenses management case study page on Amadeus.com. He clicks to download the case study and fills in a form with his contact information. Filling in the form triggers marketing automation software Oracle Eloqua, which identifies Alan as a suspect. Oracle Eloqua sends an email to Alan with a link to download the selected case study he requested. 2 days later, an automated workflow sends Alan a follow-up email. The content of the email is tailored to the area Alan is interested in and encourages him to watch a related video about one of our products. While watching the video, Alan is being upgraded to a prospect within Oracle Eloqua. Alan wants to know more about the products featured on the video and visits Amadeus.com. On the homepage, he sees targeted content related to his area of interest and a banner that guides him to a product page. He wants to see a demo of the product and decides to fill in a contact sales form. At this point, he is upgraded to a marketing qualified lead in Eloqua. With this upgrade, his details are passed on to Salesforce CRM and the Amadeus sales team. A couple of days later, Alan gets a call from sales. They get a bit more information about Alan's interests and business needs and add this to the Salesforce CRM. There is now a clear match between Alan's needs and Amadeus's offering. Alan's profile is updated with new engagement details, and he is upgraded to a sales qualified lead. The sales team continues the conversation with Alan, marking him as a sales opportunity and recording his sales pipeline. When the deal is complete in Salesforce and Oracle Eloqua, Alan's status gets upgraded to an account and his sales pipeline is recorded as sales revenue. Alan and a few other key representatives of his organization will enter the automated onboarding workflow. Onboarding communication flows ensure that Alan's organization understands the value proposal of the product they just acquired. This was Alan's story, but the same process is continuously opening up conversations and creating thousands of interested marketing and sales leads. All of these interactions can be monitored using the 360-degree marketing dashboard, tracking, and helping guide people along the way to becoming a valued B2B contact.
Okay, so we needed to create a story what's happening in the background, and in a way it was quite bold because we didn't have a system that could deliver all that. Now we do, but by the time we did that, we really had to do a lot of promise work, and we had to be bold. And I always told the guys that either we're going to be rock stars or we're going to be fired. So let's choose to be rock stars. Let's do it, let's push it forward and do it the right way. And of course now being live a couple of months, we're still doing final stabilization. We have still a lot of bugs. It's okay. Going back to the when do you launch? When is the right time? Never is right time if you look at the quality. So what we did what we also used to do in a gaming development. We put everybody into a meeting room for 1 week with a lot of pizza and Coca-Cola, and we kept testing ourselves. We invited also our brand and culture teams. So we had my entire division sitting in a meeting room for 1 week and testing all the pages. We ran our QA internally. Remember, very little documentation. We made the use cases and saying, this is what we want to test. And we kept cracking. And then we realized there's no major critical issues. While we were testing, there was a developer team continuously fixing the bugs that were reported. And that's how we did the last week before launch. And then we said, there's still a lot of bugs. We're just going to go live. And we moved to the maintenance mode. And of course, now in the backlog, we keep cleaning it up. But again, of course, the big thing is now show the money. So we are now able to start reporting back to our management teams, our businesses, and our local guys, what's really happening in the back end, what the customers are doing. And the next steps we're going to do, we keep adding more and more verticals to the digital ecosystem. So we are decommissioning the local sites, but those microsites as well. We cannot kill them at one go. Little by little, we're still doing it. Some of them, like our hospitality guys, our system was so bad, they run their own microsite totally on a separate system. So now we are starting to bring them under this. They already have all the content, but they want to operate that system. So we need to train them so we can give them the car keys and they can drive this beautiful vehicle themselves. And we keep scaling the operations and, of course, continue to go to the new areas like extranet. We want to create a system where anybody can come to Amadeus.com, log in, and they get all the billing information, all the open customer tickets they have with us, all contract access, and all that. So working really on the back end, try to move something that gives value to our visitors and customers. With the login, we know more about them, but they also know more about what's happening between our business relationship.